Chapter 2422, A Shocking Spectacle. Published by Divine-Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Ashish. Translation checker, Pew Pew Lasergun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. Since Seeking Passion sect won't easily give up, isn't it Ice Heart Valley that's going back on their word? I heard that Seeking Passion sect's Vice Sect Master and Young Sect Master are both in Ice Heart Valley. Where are they now? Winds are blowing and a storm is about to come. I'm afraid that the sky of the Northern Territory is going to be subverted. Brother Joe, don't be ridiculous. Even though Ice Heart Valley is strong, how could it compete with Seeking Passion sect? The entire Northern Territory knows that Ice Heart Valley no longer deserves to be a top sect. If Seeking Passion sect really pursues this matter, Ice Heart Valley would not be able to do anything. I heard that Seeking Passion sect master, Feng Xuan, will personally grace Ice Heart Valley with his presence on the auspicious day, which is tomorrow. If he learns that Ice Heart Valley has cancelled the marriage arbitrarily. The Emperor Realm Masters broke into a lively discussion. All of them were a little confused. Everyone only knew one thing, and that was that Ice Heart Valley was in serious trouble this time. Who gave these women the courage to cancel the marriage at the last moment? Isn't that no different from slapping Seeking Passion sect's face in front of the entire Northern Territory? How could Feng Xuan simply let this matter drop like that? Brother Hu Yuan, should we persuade Valley Masterin and the others? I remember that your wife is from Ice Heart Valley. If something bad really happened to Ice Heart Valley, will your transformation sect be able to stay out of it? Hu Yuan's expression changed ever so slightly after hearing this. He pondered for a moment before he hurriedly chased after Enruo Yun and the others. By the looks of it, he wanted to persuade him to rethink their hasty decision. Other emperors looked at each other before they too chased after the Ice Heart Valley elders. They might be here just to offer congratulations, but since things had developed to this point, they also wanted to know what exactly happened to Ice Heart Valley that gave them the guts to cancel the marriage with Seeking Passion sect. After a while, a crowd came to the front of some inn in Ice Moon City. Immediately, they saw Enruo Yun and the others quietly standing in front of the inn with a serious look on their faces, saying nothing. They just kept looking in a certain direction with pious and excited expressions. There was no one within a radius of a kilometer of these women as all the irrelevant people had retreated far away, only looking in their direction. Hu Yuan flew over and hurriedly stepped forward, but just as he was about to speak, Enruo Yun suddenly went down on her knees. Immediately after, all the Ice Heart Valley emperors followed suit. Hu Yuan's eyes were about to pop out as he stood stupefied, gawking in a daze. He had no idea what Enruo and the others were up to. The other masters, who caught up one after another, were also stupefied by this sight, extremely shocked by the unbelievable scene. Broth. Brother Hu, what's going on? Someone approached Hu Yuan and asked in a low voice. Hu Yuan was equally confused and just kept shaking his head in response, I have no idea. They were like this when I arrived. Who exactly is inside the inn that Valley Masterin, Great Elder Sun, and the other elders would act like this? Among the masters of Ice Heart Valley, Enruo Yun and Sun Yun Shu both were second-order emperors, while the rest were first-order emperors besides a single third-order Dao Source Realm disciple. Such a force was extremely terrifying. But this group of masters happened to be kneeling right on the street, in front of the inn, in broad daylight, in front of everyone's eyes, without any kind of reluctance or hesitation. On the contrary, they gave the impression that their actions were simply a matter of course. Enruo Yun was the current Valley Master of Ice Heart Valley while Sun Yun Shu was Ice Heart Valley Great Elder. Each word from their mouths and everything they did represented Ice Heart Valley, and since they were kneeling here without a care and speaking anything, it meant that there was someone inside this inn who could make them surrender. Hu Yuan's face drastically changed as he seemed to have thought of something, immediately muttering in shock, could it be? Before he could finish himself, an extremely excited look appeared on his face. Brother Hu, what is it? Someone eagerly asked because he really couldn't understand the scene before him. One among the crowd of onlookers then thoughtfully spoke, in this world, even the 10 great emperors couldn't make Valley Master and act this courteously. There is only one person who can make them show such respect. Ice Heart Valley's ancestral founder, Senior Bing Yun. Someone suddenly exclaimed. Could it be that Senior Bing Yun is inside this inn? Didn't they say that Senior Bing Yun has already fallen? There has been no news of her in over 3 millennia. Just because there hasn't been any news, doesn't mean that Senior Bing Yun is dead. Perhaps Senior Bing Yun has been living in seclusion, or perhaps she was trapped somewhere. Senior Bing Yun was already a third-order emperor when she disappeared. How could she die so easily? As the ancestral founder of Ice Heart Valley, Bing Yun's name echoed like thunder even if she had disappeared for 3,000 years. After having guessed that Bing Yun was inside the inn, everyone couldn't help but have all kinds of changes in their expressions. Among the crowd, some were close to Ice Heart Valley, and some were close to Seeking Passion sect. Naturally, everyone would be feeling different at this moment. Senior Bing Yun has suddenly appeared at this critical point, and Sect Master Feng Xuan will also be coming here tomorrow. If these two masters meet. The speaker shuddered all of a sudden, not daring to continue. Under normal circumstances, Bing Yun meeting Feng Xuan would have been fine. Both of them were sect masters of top sects in the Northern Territory, so who knows how many times they had met with each other. However, Enruo Yun had just cancelled the marriage between the two sects, so once Feng Xuan arrived, he would definitely seek justice for his son. No wonder Enruo Yun and the others had the gall to cancel the marriage at this point. It turns out Bing Yun has returned. But even though Enruo and the others were kneeling in front of the inn, Bing Yun was nowhere to be seen, and no one dared to spread their divine sense to investigate, all of them simply standing there, burning with anxiety. In a flash, 20 or so Emperor Realm Masters had gathered before an insignificant inn. It was a shocking spectacle. Yang Kai, standing before the inn, looked completely helpless. He had no idea that the emperors of Ice Heart Valley would suddenly come here and act like this, making countless people gawk at them like monkeys. Hearing the commotion outside, Fan Xin and the others immediately walked out of the inn. They took a glance at Enruo Yun and the others before they approached Yang Kai and doubtfully asked, "Senior brother Yang, who are they? Why are they kneeling here?" The corners of Yang Kai's mouth twitched as he replied, "They are your senior sisters." Senior sisters. Fan Xin was taken aback as she immediately covered her mouth and exclaimed, "They are from Ice Heart Valley." Yang Kai nodded in agreement. Fan Xin hurriedly approached Enruo Yun and the others with her junior sisters and greeted with a bow. Fan Xin greets senior sisters. "You are." Enruo Yun looked at her in surprise. "Junior sister Fan Xin. I was taken as a disciple by our honored master in the solitary void sealed world together with him," replied Fan Xin, pointing at the few girls behind her. The cultivations of those few girls were quite varied, so when they saw so many Emperor's Realm Masters kneeling before them, all of them were quite speechless. After all, Emperor's Realm Masters were like legends to them, but now, they could actually address them as senior sisters. This came as a huge pleasant surprise to them while also confusing them greatly as they had no idea what to do. "You are our honored master's disciples." And Ruoan's eyes lit up. Fan Xin smiled as she circulated her secret art, causing her temperament to turn extremely cold. Sun Yun Xiu nodded and said, "It's indeed our Ice Heart Valley's secret art." Hearing these words, the gazes of Ice Heart Valley elders looking at Fan Xin and the others turned gentle. "Good." And Ruo Yun gently smiled, "Master has finally taken in new disciples. Many thanks for caring for honored master all these years. As your senior sisters, we are very grateful to you." Fan Xin shook her head and immediately stated, "It was honored master who took us in. We were not able to help honored master in any way. But senior sisters, why are you all kneeling here? Please get up." Zhang Sun Ying smiled and explained, "We have made a mistake. This is a punishment we deserve. Junior sister does not need to mind us." And Ruo Yun suddenly asked, "Junior sister, you just said something about a solitary void sealed world. Could it be that honored master has been in the solitary void sealed world all these years?" Judging by her tone, she had no idea about the solitary void sealed world, but that wasn't a surprise seeing how no one who was trapped inside that place had ever escaped. For the entire star boundary, the solitary void sealed world was a total mystery. "Yes, we were all trapped in the solitary void sealed world, and we just escaped a few days ago with great difficulty," Fan Xin answered with a nod. "Master's injuries, are they related to that solitary void sealed world?" And Ruo Yun nervously asked. Fan Xin explained, "There was a man named Qi Ri in the solitary sealed world. His cultivation was on par with honored master's, so when honored master was about to leave, Qi Ri attempted to stop her, which led to a battle." Ice Heart Valley's Emperor's Realm Masters knelt before the inn as they raptly listened to Fan Xin. When they heard about the thrilling and dangerous events that had taken place, they all became nervous. At first glance, Yang Kai could tell that they had many things they wanted to ask, as in Ruo Yun and the others definitely wanted to know how Bing Yun had been doing all these years, and how she was now. As such, Yang Kai decided to give them some privacy and headed back to his room to search through Feng Shi and Yao Zhuo's space rings. He had to use an Emperor Authority bead this time, but he also obtained 2 space rings, so Yang Kai didn't suffer a loss. Furthermore, there were countless treasures inside the rings of these 2. After some calculations, Yang Kai discovered that he had not only not suffered any losses, but had instead made a fortune. The only thing he regretted was that without the Emperor Authority bead, he had lost a trump card. Yao Zhuo's and Feng Zai's space rings had too many things in them, so it took Yang Kai an entire day to finish taking inventory. He had collected a total of 100 million source crystals of mid-rank and high rank. If they were really converted into low-rank source crystals, they would amount to 3 or 4 billion at the very least. Seeking Passion Sect's wealth had opened his eyes. Even if Yang Kai was wealthy before, this was still a great fortune to him. His personal wealth had become quite astonishing, making him recall when he first arrived in the Star Boundary when he and Lu Xian were worried about source crystals all day long. Those days now seemed like a lifetime ago. In a good mood, Yang Kai threw all the rare and precious ores into the sealed world bead, letting his embodiment refine them. Ever since the embodiment had refined an Emperor Realm Master using the heaven-devouring battle law, its aura had faintly hit a peak and seemed to be only a step away from breaking through to the Emperor Realm. In the small sealed world, not only the embodiment, but Hua King Si and even Lu Yan were like this. Their cultivations were advancing by leaps and bounds, soon reaching bottlenecks. The only one with lower cultivation was Zhang Ruo Shi, who was just a first-order Dao Source realm, but with her unique bloodline, as long as she had sufficient world energy, her cultivation would catch up sooner or later.